Tak znovu, dobré odpoledne. Je mi opravdu velikou ctí, že můžeme uvítat jednoho z top 10 architektů světových, který ale není jenom top 10 architekt. Oba dva máme tady s ním i osobní zkušenost. Winy od 80. let už jezdí do České republiky a dokonce tady učí. Učí na takovém malém zázraku, to je soukromá mezinárodní škola architektury, kterou Regína Loukotová dokázala z ničeho vykřesat a teďka tam učí jeden z top 10 architektů na světě. Archip se jmenuje a tam učíme spolu. Winy není jenom architekt, není to jenom top 10 architekt. Winy má zkušenosti s veřejnou správou, má zkušenost jako hlavní architekt několika měst. Snaží se, jak může, pomoci naší republice. Vyhráli soutěž na dostavbu pražského letiště, ale obecně vůbec pomáhá lidem, kteří se snaží mít nějakou vizi. A věřím tomu, že když se tady trošku ukotví, tak i ta naše společnost se trošku vylepší. Co je na Vinim úplně unikátní, je, že to není jenom architekt, který má za sebou úplně bezvadný a bláznivý projekty, které nám dneska představí, ale umí přemýšlet i zcela systémově. Přemýšlí o věcech, že vymodeluje města tak, že dokáže uzávorkovat některé jejich parametry a podívat se na to, jak by mohly vypadat. A opravdu se nebojí vize mít a dokonce prosadit.
Je architekt extrémního optimismu a doufám, že po té jeho prezentaci a naší debatě nějaký ulpí i na vás. A taky samozřejmě Winy je ve firmě MVRDV, tak asi ho můžeme přivítat.
Hi. Hi. Oh, fine. Do I have to start, or what is the plan?
No, you have your presentation, but if you have you can tell us just a few words about what do you think about Czech Republic?
Well, I like it and I hate it. So there's a lot of energy here. That's a good start. You do have prices. You do have good architects. You do have sometimes good developers. And on the other hand, you are also stingy. You are not. You are very short-term thinkers, which I find a bit of a pity. And you are also sometimes over-pessimistic. And that's what the world is already pessimistic enough. Let's not do it. Let's try to build up a kind of counterweight to the negative forces that surround us, and that is. And in Europe, we have to find each other to make that better. I don't know why this PowerPoint is running.
Yes.
Is that because of me? No, because this is automatically.
I don't know.
Hannah, where is she? Can we go back? Can you go back, Hannah? Okay, to the beginning. There is well, let's first start with the lecture and with the introduction. That's maybe easier to do that. Is it okay, Lukas? So this morning, where this is our proposal for the design for the new Sustainability Museum in the Netherlands, which is basically say a stack of rocks that make earth and that produce plants and animals. So my dream is that this building, you have the most amount of animals that come from the building and fly over Rotterdam. So it was a kind of big discussion yesterday on what is sustainability. Sustainability is carbon calculations. Fair enough, partly to do that, to not heat up the planet, and that has an impact on our say type of construction. Wood, yes, a little bit more, but you cannot do too much because then aggregates that should be better. And the good aggregates in Germany are now 50% bio-based, but most of the aggregates in the Czech Republic are fully 100% non-bio-based. So there is still work to do to to find a good balance. So we proposed not only carbon calculations to have it in the buildings, but also to add footprint calculations. Footprint makes it possible to talk also about water and water cleaning, makes it also possible to talk about biodiversity, makes it also possible to talk about energy forms and about mobility in the end, so to expand that factor. So so after the carbon calculator, the footprint calculator is introduced through this building to have that for all the products that are there. I mean, BRIAM, with all it's not the very best tool. And it is because it doesn't cover these kind of aspects. So we need to develop for ourselves and for the city then to show our achievements over the coming years to put up that agenda. So the good thing about a sustainability museum is that it's for a moment not talking about the war. It's talking about like things that we all share. And that somehow is about beauty also, how to turn our cities and make our cities more beautiful. So I'm happy that this is going to take part of that. As you see, it's fully operated by AI to test it and to train it. So you get sometimes too big waterfalls in these images. I apologize for that, we cannot do that. So but that we change into this in the creeks. Can you show the next page? Because I cannot maneuver. Oh, this one, sorry. Yeah, so here you see how how this landmark is coming. So I wanted to share with you that kind of news as a scoop, and also to share you the thoughts behind it and the concerns that could lead to beauty and to that. I mean, if I could dream about it, then that I will, because there are many city dreams that I would like to introduce and to share with you, to talk about it, and to see what we do. This is our office in front, or our leadership in front of the museum in Rotterdam. We work not only in Prague, but also in more places, and we to collaborate with the Y Factory, which is a foundation which teaches and which does research, like here in Delft, but in more places, and happily also here in Arkip in Prague, to participate on what could we do with cities. For me, universities at this moment are not the think tanks that they should be. As private sector, you do research, but not enough. So you have to trust and to put and to work with zones where you can do research. Research on economics, because I think the economics of sustainability are not managed very well. And so you should talk with some of the professors and to do that. But also the research on materials is sometimes very poor. So the investment on that is needed to get you better. So what we do is fantasize on beautiful cities. You were participating once in one of the studios and make books out of that. And I will show you two sectors now in this coming 8 minutes to see what you can do and what the effect could be on architecture and urbanism. So here in this triangle of research, we model future cities. How does it look like when we have robots that does everything? What happens if we have drones that do transport? That's what we exactly at this moment are doing at Arkip, and we will show you that the coming half year to see what the effect would be if you do a timeline of 50 years. That's longer than the short-term thinking, I know, but that can anticipate towards that future, and that's the model section. So in this model section, I show you a couple of them, the research that are done. Porosity was an observation on towers. I mean, these things are stupid. You go into a door, you go up, and then you're out, and you haven't seen nobody. That's when, like, only in this elevator. Is this a city? This is the same size as, I mean, this is Prague 5. So what in 10 buildings. So what is, but nobody knows each other in that kind of thing. So we propose and study, like, how can we make towers that a little bit goes up? And there are more systematics to think about it. We can do like this pregnant belly, so that you have a collective space, and you can slice it so that you have more views with and to each other. You can turn it like Jenga, and you have this kind of gardens, etc., etc. And I know when you do only one step, it costs maybe a little. And if you have all of them, it costs more. But what are the advantages? And I miss that sometimes in the developers' thinking. So what are the advantages in the longer term, in terms of qualities of houses and architecture? And how can that maybe come back if you build that into the process? So this is all the models that we tested. So they look from nothing to all. There's also a beauty to have such a kind of towers. So we apply it. I mean, the market hall in Rotterdam is somehow making porous. You use normal housing. This is lower middle class, so which is like €2,500 selling costs. So what to do then? That is actually, I can make an arch for the same cost and have a free space below. So why don't you do it? Because then you get more space for a market here, which is like used by people, and you have great painting, and you have windows from your bedroom where you love the market, and that sells the apartments. Go to the website and see how people are like collaborating on that. So here, just what a book can do and what architecture then can do. I think in Tirana with this ball, same. This is housing. No, it's a stadium. This is the national stadium of volleyball and basketball. So you start like this with the stadium. Oh yeah, let's continue on it and make housing on top of it. So that everybody, so here is during Partizan, you see the apartments over there. And when I'm in an apartment, I can see this from my balcony to participate. Imagine that the Spartak Stadium would be like this. So now it's like an empty plane, and what do? There's nothing happening. And if that turns into something beautiful, soon you have the national game to Ireland, I think in 3 weeks from now. That will be the beautiful moment anyway to launch a campaign that the next time that the Irish come here to play to you, that you, oh no, we invite you to this complete, such a kind of beauty that is there, and when you mix the program. Same with the market, that's what I think the challenges are. Does it give revenues for the housing? Yes, because it's different than other housing. It's not the same again. And with the market of growth, like in Prague, then I think diversity will help to give you a profile, to get something extra on it, movement inside of the people that want to go around. So here in Dubai, another one, it's currently a bit complicated issue, of course, but how, these are 3 towers, and we connect them so that they create shadow. And they are staggered to make that shadow even refined to the balconies. So that at a certain moment you have this kind of club feeling in neighborhoods, say mini gardens, that have this kind of view to the bush on that side. And that becomes like a filigrane almost, like a moucharabieh. So like an element that's so local in Arabic culture that comes alive. Just for dimensions, 200 meter high, 200 meter wide. To give it would be great to put that on the Letna, I think. But that's so. I take you to Mannheim because it's closer to Germany for a moment. These are all the barracks, American barracks, like hundreds of them. So what to do? And I don't talk about the whole urban plan to do that because that takes longer. But we do work now on the center where we make a new street. Meridian, where we make a hill, the Lidl, these ugly buildings, to put there simply all the rubbish on top, and then turn it into this viewing point, and 4 high-rises. Say H-O-M-E, home, Heim, Mannheim, Mannheim. So welcome to Mannheim, is what it says. So here they are, different architects that we coordinate together as an office to see what that could be. Albert Speer is in that, and this is ours. This is Werner Wohnbau. And here how it's happening at this very moment, because yeah, you only believe concrete and structures. I know, drawings doesn't count here in the society. So, but the combination, I think, of the barracks and home makes it like quite beautiful. It's like, okay, now you do add something on it. You started with a V somewhere in the south of Prague. Why don't you continue with L-O and E? And you have love that you do it. So on that beautiful neighborhood, you miss an opportunity. Why don't we do a proposal together and to say that I need 3 developers for the 3 letters to make that doable? There's one here, an auction. The E is the most effective because it has two huge balconies that sell very well. So that's Green Dip, other book. I talked about openness, try to be as open as possible. The Green Dip is about the greenness, the sustainable building that I just showed this morning, where we calculated with the students of different universities all the species, how much they need, and how they can do. This is a new way of making products out of it. Every building, I can make another kind of product. I can make a green door for you, or I can make a kind of green hyper balcony for you. And then New York would change in that, and that is what it gives. How much, with all this calculation, it can be. So Fifth Avenue would be finally nice if we would do that. And it gives 1 degree extra on the planet to do. So if you believe in it, I mean, you're climate skepticists, I mean 40% of your country, so that is what we have to deal with it. I think that Debo in Rotterdam, a museum for contemporary art, and that's here opened itself with this sliding mirrors, and inside has this kind of walk through with all the art and all the depots that are there. You can go in and find Ruisdael, in this case, to see, and then it ends up with this forest. Did you notice the difference between the two images? Was a difference of 2.5 years. So you can grow forests on roofs. I need some package, costs extra carbon to compensate it, but then and you train the trees, but somehow they become beautiful and to help compensate this act. So that's what we try to do with that Green Dip, also to suggest more like greenness. In this CBD in Amsterdam, a tower, and yes, it's mirrors, because all the towers in the CBD are mirrors, you know, but then make housing in a mirror. So we carve out a little bit the balconies, and what happens then, I can walk over it, I can meet you there and then go along restaurants, and then I am in this valley in between these different houses with ponds that collect the water. You can look through the water so that you can see from below how it is, and then every house is different. So that and that together forms communities. So there is privacy, there is plants, and there is a neighbor. I can be private, say naked on one part, but then I go further to the edge, and then I can see down. This is also a building where I have no height fear, no vertigo, because you only fall 2 stories, like a normal house. No? So I think that's doable. Why don't we make that? Why do you do these houses like this, and all the same, it sells better? The marketing department says that because they don't know how to market difference and variety. Come on, we can trade that. This building was sold very quickly. There's a demand economy, but again, these are qualities that we add. The prices become higher at that very moment. Just as an example. And it's, I think it's the first Dutch mountain that we could deliver. We continue in Paris now with this rack. This is social housing. Let's start with that. So only what we add is this rack where you can walk, where you can have your gardens and have a neighborhood. This is how it is now. So it is buildable also for lower budgets to get such a kind of qualities that you have this rack where you can meet and to have. So this is pure simplicity. And I know some of you like only simplicity because that's already enough. But and then this is the extra. So we reduced even the walls inside to pay off, in this case, the collective or this rack to make that together. I end with. If you give me 5 minutes, is that okay still, Lukáš? The second chapter is the Czech Republic, because you started the discussion. And I do that in the viewing section, where you apply research on a city or on an environment. I have a couple of things to say about that. So we are making a couple of books together with Arkip on the coming coming half year coming out. I think in the parliament, I just heard the news that they want to have it done for the Czech. CZ2, we call it. You did 1, now we go to 2, is a proposal. So we did it with all your students in your country, and we made this map of the country. Actually, it's a beautiful map, and interfered in Litumissel, as you discussed this morning, or in Pardubice, what can that be? And what can that polder, that Dutch landscape, can turn into something nice where you can bike and transform it into something new agriculture. But we have to talk with Babish about that. But that's how to do that. This is how your high speed could be have not bad acoustics. How the Moldau should be wider, and we have to repeatedly say that to make it more fine places, to shallow, to do it. Have other agriculture in your fields. Why? Because you are top in CO2 production in Europe. These are all European countries. You have to do something, honestly. So why do you do this? And why not only that? That is partly to make it better. Why do you have the highest amount of boxes per square meter per inhabitant? So you love them somehow, and they give us, but they consume so much energy and water. So why not using these roofs and ask that now to Google and say, you can get it, but you pay off this kind of effects is what you have to do. Don't start too late. The Dutch are doing this now to Microsoft, etc., to find that out. I think we do need to collectively do that, because if I drive on the D1 and I see only this kind of moonscape of boxes that is in between Prague and Brno, then I'm worried. So your renewable sources are low, so sometimes there's a lot of this. So how to transform that into new energies? How dry soil, they are the highest dry soil of Europe, because you're in the middle, because you have land climate, because there actually is limited water sources. And now, with the changes in Europe, you see this happening, dry soils, much more than ever before. Action? I didn't see it yet. So why? Because there is many things you can do. Other dripping, other kind of, say, plantations, mixed cropping. It would be help. You can even then make species while it's dry. So that is, I think, something to dream of. Actually, it's quite beautiful. Kind of new Tuscany is what you are going to do. So I could imagine that it's beautiful. In passenger transport, you're not so very good. So I imagine that you could do something like this. Takes a while, but let's repeat. It's like with children. You have to repeat a little bit. And I think it's one of the nicest projects. If Berlin, Vienna will go across, and also in East-West in the future to Ukraine, then I think we do a European project. And then your stations. But why don't you do it then more integral? Why is there no like scenography of a kind of club or team that says we want to have a line that has a kind of style. We want to have a line with the stations that are like with a certain kind of approach, with minimum density around it. Why is there not a kind of collective about it? And is it so dispersed in committees hidden here in this palace maybe to see what it can be? So about obesitas, yeah, you're good. You love potatoes, so that means also that you can maybe do something on a bridge, which I would love to do. The rivers are actually more polluted than expected, and I'm sorry to say that, because it would be so good, and then you have to clean them a little bit. There are more devices for doing that. Your density is not so high. I love this. This is a student that says, what's the difference between this and this? Only one story. But herewith, and in the same style, UNESCO didn't see it. It was just that one moment after lunch that they didn't go see it, and then you put it through. And then the whole city would have a value of that, of this kind of penthouses. Just you know, you are the spreadsheet masters. So you know how to do that, and to say how much it would do. So the funny thing is now on the airport, where we find this, and on this spot, we are allowed to make now the new terminal. And we use the work of the students. That I think is kind of nice. I showed this is the site, this is the new Marriott comes in. Here are the 3 buildings that we are talking about. So they are very, very minimalistic, except for the tablecloth that we make. And you love dining, no? So and one hand is that you have a good solar panels that you print. Then I can make here the map of the students. I can put it on the table, and literally, and you can look through it. Don't worry for the VIP room. And then you have a boulevard of the Czech Republic that comes in, and I take you to the first one. You go into the security. The map is continuing inside and outside. I can see what Litomyšl is doing. I can see what Brno is not doing, and it says hello and goodbye to you. So here, when it says hello, you go through it, and here when it says goodbye. And flying, say, from Athens to Amsterdam, I would then suddenly say, this is my republic. So, I end with Impossible Prague, because that is the second book, because we didn't talk much. mean, it's funny, the map of the country, and you have the map of Prague, and during election time, one is black and the other one is purple. So there's the voting system is incredibly different, so that it's like in the US. So there is but that says also about the relationship. Somehow, Prague is very autonomous, and also a bit elitist, and behaves like we know it here. But you should, because you are in power of lots of the budgets and the market. So I think that could lead to something beautiful. So the question normally, many people complain, I cannot find a house. Many people complain that there's no place to build. And I know that Kamp and that the city is trying to do very beautiful things now with it. I mean, you have one of the better, if you talk about what's good and better, I mean, I like Kamp, I mean, and such an instruments. And you have it also a little bit in Brno to do it, and to stage that is what it is. This is Prague now, just as a cube. How many cubic meters that? This is when it grows with, say, another 800,000 people, an estimate in, like, what is it, 30 years from now, 25 years, but in an ecological way. So also with some more energy, water supply, all the agenda in it, another kind of mobility. So that's what you can see here. So it's quite a good city, how to do that. And if I put that program in one building, it's 70 kilometers high, so that's beautiful. But that will not work. I know. One developer takes all. That's just one prime minister could do it. But then there is another hypothesis that you think, or some architects say, Prague is Baroque. It's only one style. It's not true. You look what kind of mosaic you are, from Panelaki to urban areas to some kind of 19th century elements. So that is what I want to do. That liberates us. We can do more variety. If you add, as a developer, something nice but different, it fits in the mosaic concept. But be more clear about that, what that can be. So the students made inventory about the impossible plots to buy and to put persons on it, and how much there are. I give you some examples. These are all the parking spaces, brownfields, and empty spots that are in Prague. They are under control, I know. But this is, of course, amazing plots. This I already can double Prague with using that plots. There would be already a law, like in the Netherlands, that these plots have to be filled as quick as possible. So why not here is what it would be, and you get something like that. This is all the flat roofs. One story, I was talking about, do take it serious. And like in a Panelaki, no problem to do that. So that would be quite beautiful, and nobody saw it. And so also a grand reservoir, the big is there. This is a project that you don't see. When I am here in the center, in the UNESCO area, I'm not allowed to see towers. I mean, the whole discussion on the V was already a part of that. But if you calculate all the viewing lines over it, behind the hills, we can fantasize. So this is the perspective. I don't see any red, any building that is there, but there are a lot on those plots. So we can continue with that. These are all the Panelaki that could deserve also an upgrade to make more density, maybe more green density in it, like this one. These are metro stations, just density explorations. That is how high density can help you on that. This is one of my favorite, the island in Troja, where you need only 3 meters of soil plus a little bit of water and cleaning. That's what you do there. You gave it to a French company, and then they treat it. And why not covering it with a park and make some housing on top of it? Because this could be the Ile de la Cité of the in between the two. You make an extra mountain to have it, and this would be my favorite, to get it into the next elections and to try out together with maybe some more that would like to join, because then we can show suggestions. Does it smell? No. We can solve that. Don't worry, because like in the cisterns in Istanbul, you would have that. And of course, you love art. Well, a bit hidden. So this is also very touching Why don't we collaborate with artists to make something? I mean, I know David Czerny and his babies, so I want to try huge babies in the future somewhere to do that. But this is a very beautiful one. Louise is a fantastic sculpture she made. This is not a bad apartment building, no? And especially if I montage it on top of this, then I have an extra character in the city. Yeah, no, maybe a half house. We can do more, but I will maybe later in Tirana. We'll come back to that. And my last one, of course, is a discussion when my new prime minister went to Brussels last week to discuss basically his credentials. Then I said, yeah, but why don't we split Brussels? You have Brussels, but also something in the center of Europe. So this is half of the Brussels program that I could put in Prague to get more. You are, maybe I think politically it would be fantastic to do that and neutralizes some of your polarization modes. I'm not, you're a specialist, I'm not in that. But it's like, how could that be? So for the moment I put it here, on this beautiful place. I said, okay, we jack it up a little bit. How many stories? Maybe 10? And I can do, that would be great. This would be better than Ladakh, no? And all the houses would have a view to the castle. So the prices go up like hell. And you have to have, I think, and you can walk on top of the European Union and go to here and look down from the chapel and pray about a good future of Europe, is what I hope to do. I mean, I know I ruined my career with these remarks, but I try to, and this is what I would like to give with you. That projects, Prague can grow and easily can facilitate this kind of elements. Maybe some of these ideas will not happen, but in the short term. But maybe they help to establish a spin-off, that some of them help. Exaggeration is not bad. The hyperbole as a figure in literature is super important, a style figure. Why don't we use it also in our communication to make this city dreams? Thank you very much. Did I answer your question?
You have answered several questions, but I have a few more. Okay, so unfortunately, no. Thank you.
Okay, next lecture. And then we do organize it again. Sorry for that.